What if reality is being edited and we're too erased to notice? In this episode, inspired by the Twilight Zone's And When the Sky Was Opened, we dive into a world where something or someone disappears without warning. No headlines, no closure, just a growing sense that something important is missing. As memories unravel and familiar things vanish without a trace, we're left with a terrifying question. What if the story of our world is being rewritten, one subtle deletion at a time? Today's tarot questions ask, what has already disappeared? What force is behind the edits? And what might vanish next, including us? Let's pull back the veil and read between the lines of what we no longer remember. Hello everyone, welcome back, or welcome if this is the first time you've been on my channel. So we're going to get started right away with Twilight Zone inspired episode 11 and question 1. So question 1, what has quietly disappeared from our world without a trace? And it's going to be something no one remembers losing, but somehow we all kind of feel it. So let's see what has quietly disappeared without a trace. We're going to start with Oracle, since Oracle doesn't care what I think, and then we'll add Tarot in with this for more information. All right, so we have Backdraft. Well, with Backdraft, I feel like literally something has been swallowed up very, very rapidly. And it's almost as though if you attempted to open the door in your mind to try and figure out what it is, it's like on the tip of your tongue. And if you tried to figure out what that was, that there'd be a backlash of some sort, like a zap or something, excuse me. So let's keep going here. So obviously there's something. All right, so then we have Elvis. I had to take a moment and see what was the tiny writing here. I feel like what got taken away was very, very important to us. Very important to us. And here it says, in a rock and rollicking storm. So whatever it is, it was taken very quickly and in kind of a stormy way. But yeah, I feel like it was very, very important to us. So let's see what is next. And I'm pretty sure you know where that comes from because so many people, I mean, Elvis was a big deal, right? Yeah. There was a lot of emotion when he was no longer there. All right. Took the world by storm, I guess. Rock and rollicking. Took the world by storm. All right. So then we have Man on Fire. Yeah, the memory. Okay. The memory of whatever this was that was so important to us is being guarded, very, very, very strongly guarded. So it is something that was really important to us that they, or whoever they are, really doesn't want us to remember that it ever even existed. The Great Gatsby. Sorry about that. Okay, so it looks like whatever this was, okay, the thing that's like niggling at our memory and was very important to us is being defended, that memory is being defended. It was also very important to the wealthy. Going to say that. To the wealthy. Back to the Future. Groundhog Day. And War. So I think what it's saying here is it is probably possible to get that memory back. If we could find a way to go back in time. Now, this would be difficult because we really don't know what date we're looking for. We don't know what memory we're looking for. It could probably be quite the trip, right? To have to go again and again and again until finally something, that backdraft door opens on its own and we don't get zapped or burned or whatever's supposed to happen. We would probably have to repeat this going back to the future over and over again. And then once we did find the right memory, the memory of that we're missing, we would probably have to keep doing that day over and over and over again until we found a way to protect that memory so it couldn't be erased. From what this last card is, it can mean one of two things. Those in power, allegedly, are going to know that we're up to something, that we're looking for something, and perhaps would try to stop it. But also, the other thing that this card is war. One of the lines in the song is, "What is it good for? Absolutely nothing." So it's almost as though the memory that got erased has to do with war. And the reason perhaps that we're at war, or that there's been so many wars, the true reason has been found out. And it has created, or it created quite the moral conflict within us. Because, many people lost people in the war. So that could be a possibility too of what that is about. It could affect the wealthy. They say that war is fought, or wars are started when money is needed. So, but for the average individual, when there is a war, we become very, 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 very poor. So let's see what tarot has to share. So we have the Two of Wands. Yeah, our energy, we've got something over here that's like burning. We can feel it. We want to know what it is. And then we've got another one. We can feel something, but we just can't grab it. It just isn't there. And each way that we go kind of burns a little bit. We've got fire here. We've got fire here. So we have to make the decision. Are we going to keep trying to come up with whatever that is? It's almost like something on the tip of your tongue, or just let it go. Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, it feels like it was supposed to be a legacy of some sort, something that important, like Elvis. Elvis's legacy was his music. Okay, it's something that important, or feels as though it's that important. Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, it doesn't matter what they have to do. They have many things that they can pull to defend this memory from us finding out about this memory. What they can pull out of their hat is, there's just no limit to it. Knight of Swords. Yeah, this was very, very important to the wealthy. And they've got their best knights on it. That's how protected they wanted it to be. So it's an active protection. Two of Pentacles. Back or forward? Back or forward? Which way do we go? What date do we go to with the Two of Pentacles? Which way do we go? And I'm going up. Can't see me. Up and down, doing the weighing thing. Three of Swords. Yeah, we'd have to find the date of the betrayal and replay it over and over again until we found a way to protect or grow the memory back in the mind of everyone. We would have to do that. And with War, we have Three of Cups. Yeah, this is, again, if it's war, either way, knowing that war is good for absolutely nothing except for the wealthy, allegedly. It's celebration for them whenever there's a war. It would be celebration for us if we found out what the memory actually was. Is it war? Was that what it was about? So, we know we have something, some memory. And if you are new to my channel, I do put these cards away in a rather slow manner, simply because it gives me the ability to have them somewhat mixed. That way, if a repeat card comes out, I know it's coming out for real, rather than because I was a crappy shuffler. All right, and I do the same thing with these. Just kind of pick something up and put them back away random. Again, for the repeat card situation. And as many cards as there are here, there are definitely repeat cards that come up. Okay, so second question. Who or what is editing the story of our world and why? So we're looking for the invisible hand. Who is redacting existence for us? Who is editing what we should and shouldn't know? Don't look back. I almost feel like with Don't Look Back that the who is someone in spirit. We're going to keep going on that one. See if we get a little bit more here. The Mothman prophecies. Who or what is editing the story of our world and why? Okay, so as I said, I feel like this might be someone from spirit. And perhaps their calling is to protect humanity, which the Mothman prophecies, that was also about a cryptid of some sort who came to give warning, or tried to give warning, to the town in West Virginia, Mount Pleasant, I think it was called. Anyway, so if someone from spirit is actually editing the story, they're doing it for humanity, the way that it looks. Vertigo. Yeah, they're sending it back through time. For some reason, they're sending the things that, either that or they're pushing it to the future. There's no way for us to know that. The sixth sense. Yeah, that's almost like it's a confirmation, because the boy says what? I see dead people. Okay, so this is a return to spirit. It's embracing a call within spirit. So I'm going to say this is someone or perhaps a group in spirit that is meant to protect humanity from, we'll say, the things that, well, the things down the rabbit hole. A lot of those things are not the greatest things to get into. And I feel like they have to do it because there are those of us who have a sixth sense about certain things. And maybe this goes back to question 1 about what has quietly disappeared from the world. Let's keep going. Sherlock Holmes and the Voice of Terror. Now You See Me. And the Phantom of the Opera. Okay, so I feel like if we knew, okay, the world would be in a panic if we knew what had been erased. And with that first question, I have to admit, I got the feeling that it was the wealthy, the Great Gatsby, the wealthy that caused this memory to disappear. Now I don't think so. Now it's moving forward and it's showing us somebody from spirit or a group from spirit. And I feel like whatever this is, like I said, it would be terrifying if we knew. It would be just horrifying. And you've got Now You See Me, which is a magic card. Now you see me, now you don't. So it was like if we were actually to experience it or to see it, this would, I mean, it would just be beyond what we could handle, is what I'm thinking. And then Phantom of the Opera, it's just a ghost of a memory now. That's all it is. We can feel it like we saw with Backdraft, but it is a ghost of a memory. So let's see if tarot can give us any more detail here. I almost feel like there are a few people with the sixth sense there in the center that are aware, that have gotten kind of a heads up from spirit. Okay, so we have death. Yeah, see, transformation into spirit. So we're working with the spirit world here. Moon. And things that are only in half light, which is why Backdraft, we have that niggling, but we have no idea what it is that we're being warned about, or we're needed to be warned about. We're not seeing it. We don't know. Queen of Wands. Yeah, the reason was to keep us from going too far down the rabbit hole. That's the energy. They care. They don't want us going that direction. Ace of Cups. Too many things could happen. Because we have, as humans, we have emotion. Too many things could happen if we knew. too many things. But again, I think that there are select ones who do hold the memory. Ace of Swords. Yeah, I think it could have almost been deadly to some degree for some people. Remembering it could be deadly. Or at least make them feel like, or make them believe it could be. Justice. Yeah, the only thing that they could think to do was to just remove the memory. Whatever they needed to edit from our story, they just felt like that was the only thing that they could do. And we have the Nine of Pentacles. So being a ghost of a memory, they feel like now we can just live life just fine. We're not going to have any problem living life and without that. All right, so that took a turn I did not expect. So again, if you are new to my channel, you might be hearing some interesting sounds in the background. Anybody that's been on my channel for any length of time knows that all of my videos seem to have those strange sounds in them. They belong to my Chihuahua, who loves to lay in his bed by me, and sometimes out in the other room on a chair where we can still hear him snoring. So what you're hearing is him snoring. So get a few giggles out of it if you if you need to. Sometimes I have to. When I'm editing, you know, I've thought, well, maybe I can edit it out. There wouldn't be anything left of my video if I tried to do that, because some of them have like almost constant snoring. But I have a dog and I have neighbors and things like that, so you can also probably hear mowing occasionally and the garbage truck and, you know, things like that. So all right, so moving on to question 3. What strange signs are beginning to show that reality is unraveling? So we've got like glitches or deja vu or having a memory that no one else has. So not sure if this is leading to us remembering that specific memory that was taken away. I guess we'll see where the cards go with that. Minority Report. All right, so I think people are getting flashes of things they think are what they've forgotten. They're getting flashes of some kind that they really don't know what they are. Maybe it's a flash of, oh, so-and-so is going to steal my purse. And they believe it, so they guard their purse. They're getting very strange flashes that make absolutely no sense. And normally I don't even believe anything comes of them. And also, in Minority Report, there are 3 psychics that they're using that connect up to their computers, and they can see if someone is going to commit a crime. And it goes into the computer, and before these people can even think about the crime that they're supposed to commit, because that's what the psychics see, they're arrested, okay? So I'm thinking with that idea in mind that maybe those in spirit are throwing us off the beaten track, so to speak. If we start to get too close, they implant something in our psyche, into our minds, that takes us maybe the wrong direction. And then we have Alfred Hitchcock, The Birds. There might be some distractions also that are being used to keep our minds on something completely different. Attacking birds, like in the Birds movie, would definitely be distracting. However, in our current life right now, what we're hearing about is the bird sickness. Then we have Field of Dreams. If you think about that, if you've seen the movie, it is ghost baseball players that we have in this movie. So again, we're going back to spirit and perhaps even things that are being built that we're supposed to be paying attention to, rather than maybe people are seeing ghosts or spirits a little more often. We're talking about strange signs, so maybe the veil is thinning a little bit and we're able to see a little more than what we're supposed to see. Dragonfly. Okay, so this, we have ghosts in this one, we have ghosts in Dragonfly, we have psychics in Minority Report, and we have a mystery when birds start attacking for apparently no reason. Yeah, I really think this is kind of a side, trying to send us in different directions, anything but to that memory that is still like wiggling around in our heads. So she blinded me with science. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And the shop around the corner. So we're just going to say there's crime. There's strange things going on with the birds. There's things being built. There's paranormal stuff going on. Scientific stuff going on. Food issues going on. And it's like they're saying, okay, shop at any one of these stores, but do not stray from these stores. So here's our memory. That's what it feels like. Here's our memory. We remember certain crimes, or we hear about certain crimes. We hear about situation with birds. We hear about people building things. We hear about psychic or paranormal things. We hear about science. We hear about food and chocolate. And yeah, I feel like they're just keeping us busy. Keeping us busy. Those, and the stranger the sign, because remember it says what strange signs are beginning to show that reality is unraveling. They're giving us strange signs to make us focus on those strange signs. Again, I believe to keep from having us remember that memory. So let's see what tarot has to offer. We have Page of Cups. Yeah, little bits of emotion. Ace of Swords. Ideas that don't really have an end. So they can use the birds, they can use the cows, they can use the pigs, they can use, there's no ending. Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, they can build a million zillion different things. Baseball diamonds, towers, museums, they can just keep building. Again, that's unlimited. Queen of Pentacles. They really are They really are doing this for the good of humanity. This card says it again. The good of humanity. High Priestess. Yeah, things have to stay hidden. So they throw scientific stuff in there so that maybe you can't put the psychic stuff together. Hanged Man. Making us think about the food that we're eating. Having a whole different perspective on that, because that's what keeps us healthy. So of course that would be something that we would need to pay attention to. And the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, there's a shop for everything. The shop around the corner. There is a shop for everything, because all of this has to work together. It has to. For that memory to stay buried. All right, so let us get these picked up and moved on to question 4. We are having 7 questions in this episode. Normally I have 6. Today we have 7. And I really have fun doing these readings. They're very different. I never know what's going to come. And if you like what I'm doing, you like the shows themselves, please do not hesitate to like and subscribe, maybe share, and also, and probably most important to me, comment. I'd really love to see what you may be reading in the cards. Maybe I've missed something. Maybe you have things to add. I would love to see that. So, with that said, moving on to question 4. What collective memory was stolen, and what did it protect us from? So here we are back to that memory. So person, place, or thing that disappeared, yet we can still, some people still kind of get nigglings of it in the dreams, just like the backdraft card. So it's giving us a second opportunity to try and figure out what the memory was. So let's see if it'll get us any closer. The Blob. Okay, right now, that's kind of what it feels like in the brain, or wherever this memory is at. And the blob is dangerous. Okay, so we need to stay away from the blob in the memory. I mean, I do believe it's trying to protect that memory too. Make sure that it stays behind the blob. Oh. Transformation. I feel like if we find out what that memory was, I feel like the transformation from the chrysalis to the butterfly would be different. Something would be majorly different. And I'm not necessarily talking physically, I'm talking within our minds. Something would be completely different. The Karate Kid. Well, whatever this memory is, it would affect the mind and the heart somehow. Change how we feel about humanity. I don't know. It's being very cryptic, isn't it? Or maybe it protected our mind and our heart. Because it says here, what collective memory was stolen and what did it protect us from? Turn, turn, turn. Okay, so we've got this blob in our minds. We have this blob we can't seem to get through, right? And it is keeping us from transforming into something that may not be best for us. They are fighting for our mind and our heart. They really are. And we keep trying to turn because, like in question 1, backdraft, there's something burning. We can smell it, we can feel it. Something is there. We know something is there, and we keep trying to turn the tide, try to remember. We keep trying and trying. We have piano, suspect, and the Stepford wives. They're staying mute and trying to keep us busy with other things. As we saw in the last question, they're trying very hard, but they know we're suspect. They know that we suspect there's something, because I think the blob is also kind of pulsating in there. Like maybe the fire from backdraft is like burning it and making it want to move to allow us access. And with the Stepford wives here, that's an AI thing in a way. I mean, you can see they've got the picture on here. She was a real person turned kind of into a robot, or at least all her friends were. So we're talking AI here. So in this position in question 1, we had war. And in this position, we have like AI. And we're still being kept from seeing what this is. So it's being very secretive. All right, so with tarot, the blob, we have the 4 of Cups. Yes, we're not supposed to pay any attention to this, no matter how we feel. Judgment. It's almost as though if we know what this is, we'll be called to it. So rather than maybe turning into a butterfly, maybe we would turn into a bat. Whatever it is, we would be transformed somehow if we knew or if we remembered, because we would be called to it. We would have to do it. Justice. So the only thing that they could think to do was to make sure that they protected us. 2 of Pentacles. Yeah. Again, that's the weighing the options kind of thing. Do we keep searching for it despite knowing what we know now from what we're getting from the cards, or do we keep moving forward to try and figure out what it is? 5 of Wands. Yeah, they're Spirit is staying quiet and sidetracking us with some chaotic things, and some just the energy is very go here, go here, go here, go here kind of feeling. Two of Cups. That's almost like fighting ourselves. Like here, we have to, or excuse me, here, we have to decide, do we want to keep looking for it or don't we? You know, our shadow side and our light side, trying to figure out which way we should actually go. Do we want to go down the dark side that they seem to not want us to go, or the light? Yeah. And then the Ten of Cups. The Stepford Wives. Yeah, this is almost like, again, this is supposed to be, we're supposed to be really happy people. They want us to be very happy. They want us to be emotionally fulfilled. But that's not the truth of it. That's an illusion. If we were to find that out, it would be not what we thought. So they are definitely making it tough on us this time. I feel like there's a shield over the cards. So picking up again. And with Stepford Wives, also, it's where they've made the women under their control, turned them into like robotic beings or whatever. I don't know if they're actually robotic, but the card that was there before was War, which is war. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. So I almost feel like whatever this is, it's going to show as an absolute betrayal, because the husbands are the ones that did this to their wives, because they just wanted the women to do exactly everything they wanted and not to have their own mind. All right, so question 5. If the erasure continues, what part of humanity vanishes next? What is the cost of forgetting as more is erased? So the way that it sounds, I mean, we've been working with one memory, at least we believe we have. So this is kind of giving the indication that maybe there's been more erasures, or maybe there's going to be more erasures. So let's see what the cards say. The net. I'm looking at that and seeing, because of the look on her face and knowing the show, okay, knowing the movie, nothing is safe. So no memory is safe. Any memory can be erased. Just as anything can be erased off the net. The Great Escape. Is there a way to escape the having the memories erased? That's what I'm taking that as, until I find something else, or something else that might mean. Because we are talking about memories vanishing from humanity. So how do we keep humanity's memories intact? Legally Blonde. Maybe this is playing dumb until we no longer have to. And then coming out and showing our true colors, what we're capable of. Maybe pretending like we have forgotten. Maybe that is the way. Maybe if whoever is doing this or erasing things feels like we're not going to know anyway, then maybe they won't even bother because they figure we won't understand what would be erased anyway. So why erase it? Release. Yeah, same scenario here. So rather than, I mean, if we play dumb, that's the great escape, right? If we play dumb, nothing would have to be erased. We would, if the threat of erasure was there, okay, to escape getting our memories erased, whatever the memory happens to be, again, we can play dumb. We can just pretend that we're looking into all the other things that we saw in the strange signs, question 3. Go to this corner shop, these corner shops only. We can pretend. And then maybe if we do that, they won't erase any more of our memory. Bringing up baby. Ball of fire. Rain of fire. It's almost like child psychology. Sometimes you go the opposite way to teach a child, to bring up baby. You say, I'm not interested in what you have in your hand, and then they'll come up and they'll show you. That kind of psychology might be what's in order so that no more gets erased, because we're already playing dumb. So it's just basically using a little child psychology to make sure that nothing more gets erased. And then perhaps, the backdraft maybe turns into a ball of fire and then a full-blown burn with rain of fire, which means the memory comes back. Or it burns anybody that tries to erase any more memories. Got a lot of fire in this, which can also be anger, truly. Let's see if tarot can shed some light. Because the question is, if the erasure continues, what part of humanity vanishes next? Well, here the cards are trying to say nothing more has to vanish next if we play this game. So we've got 8 of Cups, which is a card that says walk away. So if we feel like something, something's being stolen, we can just pretend we don't notice that, pretend we're not bothered. Queen of Pentacles. The best way to protect ourselves and to escape all of this is just to focus on ourselves and live our life. 2 of Pentacles, yeah, you have to decide. Do you want to have them notice you're noticing, or do you want to play dumb? Knight of Cups. This is just being emotionally active. If we're focused on something else, like they showed us in 3, shop around the corner, then they're not going to worry about anything. They're not going to worry about getting rid of anything because we're doing a perfect job playing dumb. Page of Swords, yep. We are teaching them to ignore us, basically. Hermit. Yeah, the ball of fire is quietly burning away in our mind, in each of us, and allowing us to see, becoming brighter. 6 of Swords. That's the peace of mind card. There's the memory right there. There's the memory. So we had war. And we had, well, war and Reign of Fire. Stepford Wives. So I almost feel as though the memory literally has to do with some kind of war that took place, and it was so atrocious that Spirit decided to maybe bring us all back to life, to transform us back into humans, bring us all back to life, and erase the memory. That's what my brain is thinking. And apparently they would do it again if they needed to. All right, we've got 2 more questions here. All right, so, excuse me. Are we being erased from memory, or are we being erased from memory, or are our memories being rewritten? Okay, I don't think we are being erased. I think we were erased. In other words, maybe the planet blew. Maybe there was a nuclear war. And somehow Spirit was ready for it and started us over again. There it is, bringing up baby. And you saw me put it away. At least I think you, oh, maybe not, because you can't see that pile. But I tucked it in, we shuffled, bringing up baby. And with that one, I'm going to say they started us all over again. Like I'm thinking. Casablanca. Yeah, they started us from the very beginning and raised us. In other words, I think we were babies and they raised us to adulthood. No, that's not right. They brought us back in whatever way we were. Some were children, some were adults. Brought us back exactly the way we were, what we were doing, so on and so forth. Brought us back exactly the way we were. And amongst the same friends and family, and they brought us back just as we were before the destruction happened. Brought us back as loving, caring humans, if that's what we were to start with. And I feel like they had to, Stargate. Did they send us someplace else that's like Earth? Through the Stargate. Brought us back. For love of the game. Mr. Roboto. And purge. Yeah, clear the mechanism. They erased all knowledge of us knowing that we were sent someplace different, that our earth was destroyed. They sent us someplace different, brought us back alive, erased our memory of that. I even feel like they erased some of the technology that we had. Kind of purged, just purged us of anything, any memory that was harmful. So if we've had, maybe they've also purged the robot out of us. In other words, conformity. We're not supposed to be conforming any longer. Sorry about that. The neighbors are starting a motorcycle. So yeah, they started us completely over, purged out all the stuff they didn't think we would need anymore. Maybe some of the pain that we've had. Maybe we don't even realize that we had certain things happen to us in childhood, things like that. So we're not being erased from memory, but some of our memories really have been rewritten. And in fact, so has where we live, the way it looks. King of Cups. Yeah, they did it with absolute love. This was the structure they created with love. Hermit with Casablanca. They lit our light again. Brought us back together. Ace of Swords. Intact. Our families, our friends, everything was exactly the way it's supposed to be, including our beliefs, but the way we communicate. But they left that open for improvement. Judgment. Yeah, we were called. We were called to go through that gate. We made a choice. We knew about it, apparently. So they got to us, I think, before. I mean, we were told what was going to take place, the earth to blow up or whatever, to die. And we were told from Spirit that we were going to go back, going to be exactly as we were and go to a different planet that's kind of exactly like ours. Knight of Wands. And they actively used their energy to clear the mechanism, clear our minds. Empress. They tried to make us less robotic and more creative, I think. It's the way it feels. Four of Cups. Yeah, they purged out all the emotional things that they didn't feel like we needed. Sad memories, bad memories, that kind of thing. And especially that one memory of the earth blowing. Okay, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of blown away here. So we have one more question here. Question 7. Yeah, didn't expect that when this started. Did definitely not expect. And it's kind of taken a lot of work to get through this one because, like I said, I feel like the cards, what I was getting was being protected. And, you know, we weren't maybe supposed to remember, and maybe they're feeling like since these are cards, nobody's going to believe it anyway. Because, you know, they're just cards. It's just entertainment. All right. Okay, last question. What force, if any, is trying to warn us before we're next? And they're talking about dreams, deja vu, chills down the spine. Not sure we're going to get anything much from this because number 6 kind of answered what we have been working to try and figure out through this whole thing. But let's see. What force, if any, is trying to warn us before we're next? Dances with wolves. And maybe this is more of a next, since we know what this is, maybe this is more of a next as to that we don't have it happen again. Because if it was a nuclear war, that would make sense, right? If it was a nuclear war that caused the world to blow and everybody to not make it. So maybe what they're saying with Dances with Wolves is everybody needs to get along, to respect the differences. There's Mr. Roboto again. And maybe to really put some thought into whether or not having this kind of technology is a good idea. The card says too reliant on, robots, or just too reliant in general on technology, which would be what a robot would be. So getting along, maybe not being as reliant on technology. Not focusing on all the bad stuff that happens in the world. Make a newspaper with good news. Don't focus on the bad stuff. Make a newspaper with good news. I wonder if you'd get much reading out of it. Don't know. There's the war card again. Twice in the same reading. In some cases, people believe that war, there's justice for war and there's empowerment for war, which is probably true, but ask any soldier, and it was the dark night of the soul. Killing other people, it's not what human existence is meant to be. Independence Day. Good vibrations. Does anyone really know what time it is? So, tolerance. Respect other people and who they are. Don't get so reliant on technology. Don't get stuck on bad things. Start paying attention to everything, all the good things that happen in the world. People who rescue animals. Do not put war in the mind. Be independent in your thinking. Independent. Keep a high frequency. And I'm not saying you can't ever have emotion, but keep your frequency as high as you possibly can. Live in the moment. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy each moment. Let's see what this says. These are all ways to live on this new planet successfully, apparently. And I feel as though that war card is in the center because it's saying this is how you avoid that problem again. Human existence should be tolerance, togetherness, not technology. Good things for one another. Independence, high frequencies, living in the now. 8 of Cups. Master your emotions towards other people. Make it a... Don't walk away from differences. Justice. Justice holds a scale. There needs to be balance. If you're going to have technology, or if we're going to have technology, we have to also have humanity or humanness. Okay? So a balance between the two might actually work. Queen of Wands. The energy of nurturing and caring. That's the news we want. We don't want crap news, not war. 8 of Wands. This is how to fast track the energy, is to focus on these things and not on war. Ace of Wands. Yes. The energy for independence. It's unlimited. The energy for who you can be, what you can be. 5 of Cups. Loss can be chaotic. Emotional loss can be chaotic. Good vibrations, keeping the frequency high. Even if you do lose someone, okay, you know that they're going to a good place. Celebrate them and let them go. Keep that frequency high because you have an emotional connection to them. You'll always have that in the heart, always. Your hearts will always be connected. So keep your frequency high. And the 7 of Swords. Don't jump to conclusions about what you think is happening. With the 7 of Swords, she's taking the swords, but nobody really knows why she's taking the swords. It could be to sharpen them. It could be to try and make sure there is no war. But live in the now. And don't try to read too much into everything. But one of the most important things here is tolerance. A balance in technology. Good news. Fast tracking our way out of war. Being independent, not conforming. Keeping our frequency high no matter what comes our way to the best of our ability. Not to say you're not supposed to let your emotions out, because you are. You can cry. But try to get back on your feet quickly, knowing you're still connected. And then live in the now. Don't jump to conclusions about everything. That went a totally different way than I thought it was going to. That's okay. It's always interesting, always. But that is it for this reading. I will give you a teaser for the Twilight Zone inspired episode 12. So next time, a mysterious man carries a suitcase full of items no one asks for, yet somehow they're exactly what's needed until someone takes the wrong one. But what happens when you try to outsmart fate? Find out in episode 12 what you need. All right, so there is the teaser for next week. The show schedule is on the screen for you here. As you can see, I do 3 shows each week. This time it's Stranger Things, Twilight Zone, and X-Files, all inspired series. So with that said, time to say goodbye. Thank you so much for being a part of this reading with me. Hopefully you stuck with me to the end. And since I won't see you till next week, have a great one. Take care.